Sector 7! Guidance system failing!
Plasma cannons to full power!
Shields are doing a major fade!
We're going down.
Yes, the planet has Energon.
Too much Energon. Continued exposure to unaltered forms will result in permanent damage.
Create alternatives based on the most powerful local creatures.
Scanning and replication of local life forms complete. You may emerge.
Too much Energon.
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 Good evening, and welcome to Too Much Energon, the weekly podcast where we review every episode of Beast Wars ever in production order, starting from the beginning. I'm one of your hosts, Christopher Siege.
I am your other host, NeoKal.
And this week on Too Much Energon, we are reviewing the first episode of Beast Wars ever, Beast Wars Part 1. It originally aired on September 16th, 1996. Before we get into that, though, in the spirit of transparency, we have actually recorded this episode before, and this is not a matter of us being like, oh, we recorded this yesterday, and it, like our recording was junk, so we got to start over. No, we actually recorded this months ago.
Yes.
And while that was all well and fine, the early episodes of this series were kind of marred with leveling issues. I had a really shitty mic on the first episode, and it comes from a place of sincerity, but not. I didn't really know what I was doing, but now I do. So we thought. After doing this for several months now, we thought, what better time to go back and re-record the first few episodes of the podcast, knowing what we know now. And also, to be perfectly honest, a lot of people complain about the production of the first few episodes, so
if you're listening to this, you have been spared.
Yes. Yeah, we want to put our best foot forward, so
welcome to Too Much Energon.
Yes, thanks for listening. All right. Before we jump right into the episode, we should introduce ourselves. As mentioned, I am Christopher Siege. We are both a couple of 90s kids from British Columbia, Canada. I first discovered Beast Wars back on the Beast Wars Part 1, back on the day it originally aired.
Yeah, you found it. It's kind of an interesting story. You kind of stumbled upon it, didn't you?
Yeah. So basically, me and my mom had just moved into a new apartment. We already had cable set up. I was a big fan of the other 90s Mainframe Entertainment cartoon that was airing at the time, Reboot, which we also podcast about. It's called Alphanumeric. Check that show out, too, if you like what you hear.
Yeah, that came out 2 years before Beast Wars did.
It did. So I believe it was a Monday night. I could be wrong about that, but I remember looking through the TV guide. Remember those. Looking through the TV guide and seeing that Reboot was going to be on the Canadian kids TV channel, YTV. It was going to be on at 7:30 p.m. And I saw in the TV guide that there was something on it before it called Beasties. And
yes, Beasties.
for any Americans out there listening, Beast Wars was actually called Beasties in Canada because they don't like the word war up here. in kids shows.
No, which is funny because as we're about to find out, saying it on the show is fine.
Yep, just can't be part of the title.
Yep.
Another Mainframe show that premiered, I think, in 1998, Shadow Raiders, which was based on the War Planets property, also was similarly renamed in Canada for the same reason.
What was it renamed to?
Shadow Raiders, but in the States, it was actually just called War Planets, like the toy line.
Oh, it was just called War Planets.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
I
Shadow
actually
Raiders.
didn't know that.
Shadow Raiders is actually a way better title, although it doesn't really tell you anything about the show.
No, but I vaguely recall that. But yeah, I agree. Shadow Raiders sounds cooler.
Yeah. So in the TV guide, it said that Beasties was going to be on, and here I was. This was probably about 7:24, and I'm like, whatever. Reboot's coming on in like 5 minutes or so. I'm just going to turn on YTV, and I see another CGI cartoon with, and I'll point the scene out when we get to it.
Was it this episode?
It was this episode, yeah. I'll point the scene out when we get to it, but it blew my mind, and I immediately needed to find out more about what this show was, and I ended up watching every episode on its original air date from that night forward. I even, throughout the first season, I even taped them all back on VHS so I could just watch them over and over again.
Amazing.
Yeah. Cal, what is your relationship with Beast Wars?
My relationship with Beast Wars was like intermittently catching it here and there. I was one of those kids that had, my cousins had a trampoline and we had bikes and we ran around town and stuff. So
So you were a rich kid.
definitely not. My cousins were. My cousins were the rich kids with a trampoline and a fancy yard. And we'd lived not too far away and did not have such luxuries, but I remember having a bike at least. I was in the era where kids went on, if you've watched Stranger Things, perhaps you're familiar with kids going on adventures on bikes. And I feel like I was like the last generation to be able to do that. To go catch frogs and like ride around on bikes and just like disappear for like 6 hours, and your parents are like, be home for dinner, and you just like disappear, or waking up at like 8 a.m. and like disappearing at like 9 a.m. and just like coming back at like 6 p.m. after long hours of throwing pine cones at other kids and getting into Pokemon battles. But the times I did catch it, as a kid, they were really like hit or miss. Whereas like Reboot, which came out a little bit earlier, you could just catch a random episode and appreciate it for what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But now as an adult, I'm realizing that because there's an ongoing there's an ongoing story in Reboot, of course, but because there's an ongoing story in Beast Wars, I think it's a little bit more adult. It's a little bit more mature.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree with that.
And so I'm actually not appreciating it. I didn't appreciate it as a kid, like I am now actually watching it. Like I legitimately think most of it's well written.
Extremely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the show holds up really, really well.
And it looks good. Like I'm actually amazed at how good it looks.
Yeah, especially as the series goes on. With all that out of the way, why don't you get us started on the episode? Beast Wars Part 1.
Yeah. I'm not going to try to like pick over every single little scene in this, but like right away there's a warp, like a, what do you want to call it? A wormhole opening up in space.
Yep.
And a ship comes through and it's being shot by lasers. And then another ship comes through.
While this really dope guitar riff plays.
Oh, yeah, one thing we should probably like mention, but if you're watching this, that means you've probably seen the show. The music is pretty phenomenal. The sound design of anything made by what's the company? Mainframe Entertainment? Their sound design is very, very good.
Primo.
And primo. And yeah, so we just get to see there's a big planet, big marble planet. Looks like it has liquid water on it, green, gray, and it's got 2 moons. And there's a spaceship battle going on with a ship with yellow lasers and a ship with purple lasers. How about that?
Yeah, I just want to say, like, the way this show begins is actually one of my favorite openings of a TV series ever.
Honestly, I can't think of anything else that's better than this. It tells you everything you need to know.
It does, yeah. Like this is a shockingly great starting point for this story.
It is. Yeah. Like you said, shockingly great for a kid's, like, even as an adult, I'm like, wow, like this is hard to compete with.
Mm-hmm.
We're even given some glimpses of the different transformers inside the ships. One of them, they're always like from behind and from the shadows, right? Like it doesn't really show us their forms.
Yeah.
And I think one of them's like, we're an exploration ship, not a battle cruiser.
Yep, and a voice, the voice of who we will later learn to be that of Optimus Primal, mentions that they didn't have any choice because their ship was the only one capable of locking on to Megatron's warp signature. And then we cut over to the other ship.
That tells us a lot. Yeah, I like that little back and forth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, we do get a little taste of Chitor's incredible dialect that we will get a full sampling of in many episodes to come. What does he say? The shields are like full on 0 gear or fade. Or...
Shields are doing a major fade.
Yeah.
I don't know if that impression that I just did was actual Chitor or fake Chitor from the Beast Wars video game intro.
I can't tell the difference.
Listeners, the beginning of this podcast, the very terrible, just awful sound-alike dialogue from this episode of Beast Wars. One would think that it was just us trying to be cutesy. It's not. It's actually from the Beast Wars video game on PS1. It is the actual intro to that game.
The opening that we use for Too Much Energon. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never thought. I was like, could anybody actually think that was us?
I mean,
the
maybe.
Voices are distorted. That is the opening from the PlayStation game. The highly recommended PS1 title.
Yep. And so a voice on the enemy ship is like, their shields are down, destroy them. And then we see who presumably is Megatron say, now where's the fun in that? A little torment, I think, first. Cheers. Side gun. Then some cannons on the enemy ship pop up and start shooting at the good guy ship.
Mm-hmm. Blasting chunks about it away, even though they're just like little squares, little 2D squares that fly off. At least they're showing damage and guns. The space battle's pretty cool.
Yeah. And he who would become Rhinox eventually is all like, we're going down. And Optimus is like, launch all stasis pods, get them into safe orbit.
Yeah, and as they start to spiral, this is animated cool, in my opinion. As the ship, which is they call Axelon, begins to spin, it's ejecting all of these like pods out of the back of it.
Mm-hmm.
For presumably trying to preserve them in some way in case they crash and burn, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they're escape pods, basically.
Yeah, escape pods. And they do a 180 with the ship as they're falling, and they end up like full on just shooting the enemy ship, the bad guy ship, out of the sky. Technically not sky, but they are in the gravitational pull of the planet.
Yeah, they're in upper orbit, and everyone's
Things get
screaming.
hot.
Everyone's screaming. One of the wings of the Predacon ship just breaks off,
Yeah,
just out of nowhere.
yeah. Which is it's funny because the Predacon ship is the warship, and they're just in a what is it, an exploration vessel or a science vessel?
They say it's an exploration ship.
Well, they got him. You pointed this out to me at one point, and I didn't realize until we're watching it now. We get two different perspectives from the planet's surface of the ships falling, and one of them is like arcing off at an angle, and one of them seems to be, at least from our point of view, going straight down.
Yeah,
but they're descending at the same area, almost like one's going way faster than the other.
but
The same level, I mean.
And yet they still pretty much crash at exactly the same time. Which is
Newton's laws of motion or something.
That kind of bullshit.
Yeah. In space, no one can hear you scream. Well, except we heard all of them scream.
In space, no one can hear you activate DNA sequencers.
That's true. Wow, so we get to see one of the ships, and wow, it looks way more messed up than I recall.
Yeah, the Maximal ship is in what will come to be its usual home.
Its iconic canyon home.
Yep. It's pretty thrashed, and he who would become Optimus is like damage report, and Chitor is like, believe me, you don't want to know. And Optimus is like, oh, that's what I thought.
Yeah, well, they seem to be alive, and they landed. And it's interesting. They landed very precariously, like right near a waterfall. Yeah, like we said, it becomes iconic for the show. I don't really know how to describe where the Predacons land. If they're aiming for a bullseye or a target, I guess that's cool. But essentially, they land
that is kind of what
like,
it looks like,
right? Presumably a dormant or semi-active volcano, like opening mouth, because there's lava rings all around them.
Oh yeah, it looks like they are actually in the opening of a volcano.
Yeah, so it could be like a dormant or semi-active volcano. Well, it's not dormant if there's lava. It means it's active. So maybe not the greatest place to land. Huh. Yeah.
And so Megatron is talking to the computer, and he's all like, tell me, is this the right planet? And the computer is like, unknown. Core settings are accurate, but readings are inconsistent with, Earth, basically. Yeah. And Megatron's all like, never mind that. Tell me there is Energon here.
Confirmed.
I would like to point out that I almost said Megabyte.
Wrong show.
Our other podcast, ladies and gentlemen, Alphanumeric, a reboot podcast.
It's the first time someone other than me mixed that up.
So I would like to point out that Megatron's pre-Dino body here is actually a reused character model from an episode of Reboot.
Is it?
Yeah, it's from the second season episode of Reboot, Nullzilla, where giant nulls, or a bunch of nulls engulf hexadecimal.
Oh, right.
Become a giant null creature, and so basically Fong turns our heroes into Power Rangers.
And they combine to form, I remember that.
To form a giant robot, yeah. And so that robot body, they reuse the model for that giant robot.
And that's what we're seeing in this little hologram? Or that's what we're seeing him?
Both.
As him. Oh, both. Oh, yeah. You're right. Yeah, he's sitting down and he's got like a purple and silver body.
Yeah.
Huh. Cool. I guess it's like a little Easter egg, since that's their other show, Reboot.
I would say
if you never told me that, I wouldn't have noticed on my own, but I feel like you probably noticed.
yeah, I actually noticed that back when I was a kid, believe it or not.
Cool. Oh, there's an ugly. We get to see another one, like laughing. Hey, he looks his. So they did look a little bit like there. There appears to be Tarantulas at a computer, and he's laughing and he's saying scanner is activated. He
Just
looks a lot like Tarantulas.
just before that, though, Megatron's all like, "Yes, the planet has Energon," or as he says in the vastly superior PlayStation 1 video game intro, yes, the planet has Energon.
I love it.
And the computer is like, too much Energon.
Too much Energon.
Too much Energon. Too much Energon. Too much Energon. Okay.
Too much Energon. One of our seasons should just be us doing different character voices saying too much Energon.
Yeah, that could be an intro to like a special episode.
Yeah, a special one we put together
Like
with
if
all
we
our
do
different voices.
like if we do a like a season recap or something.
Yeah,
the intro could
there
just
you
be
go.
the intro could just be like us being just trading back and forth too much Energons in various different voices.
I like it.
I like it too.
So what do we got going here? We got some sort of scanner being shot up in the air.
Yeah, because Megatron is all like, create alternatives based on the most powerful local creatures.
He's not actually doing a Megatron impression. He's doing the video game impression, people. His Megatron is actually much better than that.
I can't help myself.
It's pretty fun. It's fun.
But
I
yeah,
almost like it more. It's when a caricature of something, even though it's not accurate, becomes funnier than an accurate impression. But yeah, sorry. Anyway, this is a really cool sequence. This DNA sequencer.
Yep. Little probe type thing shoots into the sky from the Predacon ship, and it sends out this like energy scanning wave that scans creatures. So the ship scans some
DNA,
fossils.
alive or dead.
Yeah, it scans some fossils of a T-Rex and a pterodactyl and
some disgusting insects and arachnids.
Yep. And we go to the Maximal ship, and they're doing the same thing. So I wonder how they both came to the same conclusion at the same time.
Well, this seems to imply that all Transformers have to take on like disguise modes to prevent Energon like surge. And on this planet, because it's like primitive and there's no developed civilization or society, the disguise mode means animals. That's the premise of the show.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. Whereas if they landed on like modern Earth, they would be disguised as, say, cars.
Yeah, well, this is actually different than the original Transformers cartoon, though, because the original Transformers cartoon, they took on alternate forms of Earth vehicles in order to be disguised.
Yeah.
Whereas in this show, and I actually like this a lot more. This show, we find out that they have to take animal forms to protect them because there's too much energon on the planet, and prolonged exposure to their robotic forms will result in them shorting out and going into stasis lock and yada yada yada. I actually really like that because it gives a narrative reason for them to have to be in their alt form.
Oh, that's a good point.
Whereas like in the original Transformers cartoon, it's like, yeah, they needed to be in disguise, but it's like, did they though? Because people end up seeing these giant like stomping transforming robots are like running and flying around, and then
That's a pretty good point.
It just ain't no thing. After like literally the first episode of that show. Whereas
even in the live action movies, like the world very quickly realizes there are these alien robots rampaging around.
Yeah.
Like the media can't cover it up. But yet there's still like 7 of those movies? And they still transform into cars.
You're not far off. I think there are 6 of them at this point.
And as we'll find out, but while we're on the subject of Energon and their beast mode now, it has it's not just a narrative device, but as well as kind of like a logical reason for them to have it. Like you said, when they're in their robot form, they can only stay in it a certain amount of time before they have to transform. That's the difference you were trying to point out, that they have to transform. Whereas in, say, the movies or Generation 1 Transformers, they don't really have to do anything. So the stakes are a little bit different here. Mm-hmm. And it means how they engage each other has more restrictions, which makes it interesting and fun. You can't just like charge at the enemy base guns blazing. You have a time limit.
Yeah.
So I think that was smart. Good.
Yeah.
I like it.
I agree.
Yeah. So to get back into what's actually going on, both sides, the Predacons and the Maximals, are scanning for animal life. And they find them.
Yep. We got a gorilla, a rhinoceros, a cheetah, and a rat.
Mm-hmm. The cheetah is a cool cat who checks himself out in the mirror, and I think he says something like, "Oh, I'm a cool cat. I'm a cool cheetah. No, I'm Chitor." And he like checks himself out in like the mirror. So. Do they name themselves, or were they Chitor before they landed on the planet?
Well, it would be funny if, like, Chitor, like the Transformer whose name was previously Chitor, ended up like drawing like the short straw and ended up becoming the rat. So there's this like little rat guy running around named Chitor.
Or imagine your real name is Rhinox, but like I don't know, he got a possum. Right? Or an iguana. His name is Rhinox, but he's an iguana. That's a good point. Yeah. The way he says it there is, I don't know, what's your verdict? They kind of like reimagine their names.
Yeah, I mean,
like ultimately close to their name, because it's like Optimus, right? It's Optimus Primal instead of Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
But then Megatron's just Megatron.
Yeah,
I imagine if your name was like Soundwave, but you transformed into a scorpion, you wouldn't keep that name?
No.
Venom Wave, or something, yeah.
Stingwave.
Holy shit, I need to draw some fan art of Stingwave.
Actually, that's not a bad name.
That's a great name. I'm writing that down right now. Stingwave.
Taking notes, folks.
Stingwave. Yeah. But anyways, we're kind of at the agreement that their names are close, but kind of reimagined.
Yeah, I think their names are probably just like based on whatever their alt form is.
Yeah.
I mean, the simple answer is that, well, these are all toys.
Oh, yeah. So for the people listening, we're well aware that this is a TV show made for children to sell toys.
Yeah.
And that their names have to kind of sound like the creature they are, but we like to pretend that this world is real and like try to make reasonable sense of it. We're well aware that their names are Rhinox because he's a rhino and Chitor because he's a cheetah. We're gonna take it a little more seriously than that, but we're aware.
We
we're
will.
not. we're fully functional. We assure you.
Yes. So I'm gonna go with that Cheetor's name was probably, I don't know,
Well, he was fast. Something Tor.
Speedor.
Speedor. There you go. It was Speedor.
Yeah.
Optimus Primal was Optimus Prime. Megatron was Megatron.
Rhinox was probably Tankox.
Yeah, Tankox.
Tanknox.
Something, yeah. Actually, that kind of sounds like a Transformer name. Yeah.
It's a Tanknox life for us.
Oh boy, they definitely have the personality of the creature they are to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
Almost kind of like the computer matched them up with something that would match their personality. Maybe. The guy that got the short, like you said, the short end of the stick, that drew the short straw, the rat. He's clearly okay with being a rat. He even says, "This is what class is all about." And I'm like, okay. And he says, "Call me Rat Trap."
Yeah.
So it's they know each other, but they're kind of reintroducing. Well, they're introducing them to us, the viewer, but they're also introducing each other to each other.
I like to think that this was like, like Cheetor is just some like dumb college kid on his practicum, and like when they left Cybertron on this mission, that was like literally his first day on the ship, so he hadn't met everyone yet. So like he hadn't met Rat Trap up to this point.
That also explains why he's so dumb. I kind of like that. Yeah, maybe like Rat Trap was at the helm and like Chitor was monkeying around in the engine room or something.
Talking about how the shields were doing a major fade.
I assume that's where he would be. That's where Scotty was.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird that they would get like diagnostic reports from the engine room. And it's like, But anyways, this is not a Star Trek thing. It's close, actually.
Yeah, it kind of is at times.
Right? And we see there's a Rhinox on screen, and he's like, "I'm Rhinox." And this is weird, but kind of cool because there's animals talking to each other, and we don't ask why the Rat Trap has the Boston accent. We accept it.
And a chamber door opens, and a talking gorilla emerges.
It's a giant silverback gorilla, and he tells us some rules of the world.
Yeah, he's
these
like
forms. Yeah, go ahead.
He's like, modulate your conflict circuits, Maximals. So now we know the good guys are the Maximals, and they have conflict circuits that need to be modulated, apparently. And yeah, so Optimus explains kind of the rules. He's like, we may need Energon for power, but this is too much of a good thing. Our robot forms will begin to short out after a few minutes of exposure. This is one unusual planet, whatever it is. And then Rhinox very ominously says, or whenever. The transwarp drive can go through space and time.
Space and time? And I'm like, damn.
We could be any place, anytime.
So the transwarp drive, if they were they following the Predacons?
They were, yeah.
So the Predacons are the ones that activated that wormhole.
Yeah.
So they had a transwarp drive on their ship.
Yeah.
Huh. So
and
they
the
were up to shenanigans.
And the Maximals were the only ship in range to be able to lock on to the Predacon war
To
signature,
chase. Yeah.
which
Interesting.
tells me that the Predacon ship is the one that has the transwarp drive,
That makes sense. Yeah.
and the Maximal ship basically just piggybacked off of that.
Also explains why the Predacon ship was just absolutely covered in guns. Like it had like the side guns.
What does that have to do with warp drives?
Oh, I meant since it's a warship,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Like it's built to like go and engage. It would make sense that it would have this like like I said, I don't even know what it is. But it would be more ready to take on wherever it's going or to be on a mission. Whereas if it was just a science vessel like the Maximal ship, it would just be exploring, right? It wouldn't be rigged with. I don't know how common these transwarp drives are. Maybe every ship has them. Am I wrong?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we'll find out.
Maybe.
We probably won't, but maybe we will.
Already, like we're not even like we're like a third of the way through the first episode, but
Yeah,
what have we
something like
learned about what have we just seen about the characters? Megatron delights in like torment, right? Like instead of just destroying the Maximals, he kind of wanted to like dog them and make them like crash on the ship.
Yep.
Someone else was on that ship with him who just wanted him to finish them off.
Yep. Probably would have been the wise choice considering how things worked out.
Oh yes, they're falling and they're turning around. Oh, they're forward-facing guns. The only ones they have are facing us now.
Yes.
That may create some conflict very soon. Man, this episode is well written. And we got a hot-headed cheetah, a snarky rat, a wise science rhino, and and a calm, cool-headed gorilla.
Yep.
So pretty good character design. I like it.
So far,
also,
so
their
good.
faces. It doesn't hit Uncanny Valley for me, even in 2020. I like their faces.
Especially Optimus.
One could say that they made him a gorilla because gorillas are very human-like, and they wanted to do lots of expressions with him. But that's just a theory.
Which his Optimus's face may become his various facial expressions may in fact become a high point of this show.
They get very good at what they do, the animators.
Yeah. And yeah, so Optimus is like our crew is orbiting the planet in those stasis pod, and wouldn't you know it, it means Megatron has us outnumbered.
Yeah. Because all of his staff is on the ship. Staff.
All of his staff.
His crew.
His cronies.
Yeah, cronies. And we get a shot of the volcano that the Predacon ship is in, and there's creepy things crawling around. There's a giant spider and a giant scorpion and an awkward-looking velociraptor holding a big cookie. Or like one of those like gold loonies that you get on Halloween.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I just said
that.
loonies. If you're listening to this, a loonie are like the goldeny colored single dollar coins in Canada. And they are actually called loonies.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, they're called loonies because one side, the tail side, has a loon on it,
which is a type of bird.
Yep.
I wish that was made up.
I wish there was a loon transformer in this show.
And his name, what would his name be? Looney Tune?
Just Looney? Looneytron?
Louie? Louie? Louie the Loon? Oh, thank God we didn't write the show.
you could take pretty much any name and make it a Transformer name by adding Tron or Bot to the end of it.
Yeah, or like
Or that, yeah.
Yeah, like a suffix of some sort.
Yep.
Wave is a good one.
Wavor.
Wavor. I meant as a suffix, like
Oh,
sting
yeah,
wave. But I like Wavebot.
Wavebot. He transforms into a surfboard.
Can't move. Can we just? So that's not that ridiculous for anyone that remembers. Megatron from maybe it's all of G1, but I know for a fact from the 1986 Transformers movie, Megatron just transforms into a gun. He can't shoot, he can't move, but other Transformers can pick him up and shoot him. And it's like the golden gun.
Even
it's
though
like a one shot hit. Kill.
Even though when he's in robot form, he's like bigger than all of them. When he transforms into a gun, he transforms somehow into a gun that is small enough that like Starscream can just grab him and start shooting everyone.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
No. Which is weird because in his robot form, he has a giant blaster for an arm.
Yep.
He's just more effective of a weapon.
Okay, like I shit you not, even when I was 5 years old, this didn't make sense to me.
Which is why Beast Wars makes more sense.
Uh-huh.
It does. Anyone listening, we're sorry, but like G1 is a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I've gone back and watched some of it. The series, the movie is still pretty great. The animated movie from 1986 is still pretty great, but the original cartoon, it's a little goofy, especially compared to this show. So I do apologize.
Goofy compared to this show.
I do apologize to anyone out there who are fans of G1. I also like G1, but this Beast Wars is an almost objectively better written show. Like,
yeah,
it's hard. It's hard for to say that an opinion is objective, but it's pretty damn close.
Also, it's in 3D, man. Look at it. Look at these dino textures,
polygons and shit.
So, the Velociraptor, he's not holding a cookie.
Yeah, he's holding a
golden disc.
A golden disc. I was going to say
screaming at the darkness. Go ahead.
I was going to say he's holding a Rice Crisp.
Oh, I could see it. It kind of looks like that.
Yep.
So he's angry and he's holding up his like golden disc and he's yelling into the void. The darkness of the ship. Yeah. And he's saying that you failed, Megatron. You done goofed.
Yeah, because this isn't Earth. And then he calls him an idiot and throws the golden disc at him into the darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah, we could have destroyed the enemy when we had the chance, and you failed. And now we're stuck on this planet. And we're not even on the right one.
Yeah. I mean, Dinobot's like, he's not wrong.
Yeah, remember how we were talking about if they had just gunned them down and killed them in space, the Predacons could just fly off and complete their mission?
Yep.
But instead, what did he say? Let's terrorize them, or let's...
a little torment, I think.
Torment. Would have been funny if he said, let's terrorize them. A little torment is in order, yeah. But
then he would have just transformed.
Into what? Who knows? And we get to see Megatron. We'll never know. So this gigantic transformer that's a T-Rex comes out of the darkness of the ship. Yeah,
and actually kind of a like spooky scene.
Yeah, and he's like, "What the hell did you just say to me, punk?"
Yeah.
And this much smaller dinosaur is like, "You heard me. You're an idiot. And I'm like, yeah, and an incompetent leader. And I'm like,
Yeah.
good for you.
Fuck you.
He's like, I'm
taking
taking over
over.
now. And we get to see somebody transform for the first time. And I understand why the first one we get to see transform is Dinobot.
Yep, because he has, and I have always felt this, he has the coolest transformation sequence in this show. At least in the first season, anyway.
Yes. And he yells, terrorize. And he does. His
Yeah, he shouts his
head
name.
comes out and his feet become his hands and his tail becomes like a battle shield, a whirly-copter.
He shouts his name and followed by terrorize. We learned his name is Dinobot.
Yeah.
Which is a great way to make sure kids know what exactly which toys to ask their parents to buy them.
Hey man, there's a reason Pokemon can only say their name.
Right?
Yeah.
So Dinobot transforms in a dope transformation sequence.
Cool. Kind of is like coloring his face is blue, but like the metallic structure around his head is like a coppery color, almost like a helmet.
Yeah.
With vents on the side. Yeah, it's cool. He's got sharp teeth.
Yeah, it's like it is vaguely evocative of a samurai helmet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the character Dinobot is kind of samurai-like in many ways.
Yeah,
or at
we
least
don't
has some sort of code.
Yeah, we don't see that. We haven't seen that yet in the show, but we will eventually.
No, but what we do see here is he's like honorably like challenging him.
Yep.
He says, "If I beat you," or so. What does he say? He says, "The winner will lead the Predacons, and the loser shall be destroyed."
And Megatron just laughs that off, and is all like, "There's more to being a leader than simple courage. Why, there's cleverness, cunning as well. Isn't that right, Scorponok?"
And Sean Connery, Megatron, kind of like moves his like he has his back to Dinobot.
Yeah.
And from the shadows emerges a already transformed, which means Scorponok transformed off screen or in the darkness.
Yep.
And he's in his robot mode, and wow, Dinobot looks surprised. And like kind of like sideways opens his claw and shoots a missile right at him. 2. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and these missiles, ladies and gentlemen, they don't
Wow.
explode.
Wow, I'm rewatching the scene, and it's so the missile hits Dinobot right in the body, does not lose any of its like speed, and carries Dinobot off the ground and into the air and into the distance.
Yep.
Where he literally disappears.
Yep.
And then Megatron calls him a loser.
Yep. Megatron is basically like, who gives a shit what planet we're on? We came looking for Energon, and this planet has tons of it, so quit your whining.
See ya.
Yeah, enough Energon to power the Predacons Galactic Conquest, which I'm like, really, dude? There's like, what, 6 of you? 5 now, because you just cross-country missiled one of them away?
So now I'm wondering, are they both part of like way bigger factions? Because he said like the entire Predacon fleet. So this is one ship of many Predacons?
Yes. This is something that will get touched on more.
Oh, okay.
As the show goes on, but
that's what my impression is.
Yeah, and that very well may have been the intent in the beginning, but the direction of this show the creative direction of this show does change.
Fair. For anybody that's catching this show and is like watching along with us. This is the first time I'm watching these episodes in order.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be seeing episodes that I haven't seen before when I was younger, but I'm also going to be piecing the story together rather than randomly catching episodes out of context and reruns. So it's exciting. I'm going to find out what happens.
Yeah.
That'd be wild if just 5 more ships just showed up.
Oh my
all
god.
Of a sudden,
Sorry, I'm looking at video from the episode, and Megatron is basically all like, only the Maximals can stop us now. Find them, and if you find them, destroy them. But when he's saying this, his back is to the camera, and his tail is swaying back and forth.
oh, there's a fleshy part
That's just like moving independently from his tail. It looks like part of his pelvis is just like swaying.
Good catch. Yeah, I just saw that.
I've never noticed that before.
It's almost like the tail is a separate part. And so when they animated the tail moving, they also animated his backside moving, but it wasn't lined up for that shot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's actually quite disgusting looking to me.
Thanks, I hate it.
And I can't unsee it now.
Our job will become me finding very blatant plot holes on the show, and Christopher finding very weird animation issues.
Yeah, Cal notices like major plot holes in episodes that,
as a kid or an adult, you might just skim over.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I don't pick up on them a lot of the time, even though I studied creative writing in university.
Sometimes you got a talent.
But what I tend to notice is I tend to notice like weird little details.
Mm-hmm. And one of those details that we I feel like is going to be close to our hearts is the last introduced character to the show, the platform on the Axelon.
Yep.
You would be amazed, listeners, how much the elevator to the maximal base is part of the story.
It factors in. It plays a pivotal role in many episodes, folks.
We joke about it, but that's actually really true. There are times where you're routing, cheering for the elevator. Multiple episodes. So there's a rat throwing stuff off of the elevator.
Yep.
And he says, "Man, all this for a golden disc."
And Optimus is like, it was Cybertron's most prized relic. It gave the location of a major Energon deposit. So
like a space map.
Yeah. So we're getting a lot of pretty decent exposition in this episode.
I like it.
And it doesn't feel none of it feels awkward or stilted or forced. It all feels pretty natural.
I think it's written well. And it's natural because it's delivered in a way that instead of tongue-in-cheek them explaining to the audience directly, done through the character dialogue. Like you said, maybe that's Chitor's first time he met everyone. And that's why we're listening to their names, which is a convenient way of telling the viewer that.
Yeah.
We even get from Rat Trap, because he's complaining that he does a lot of that on the show. He says, "I don't care about no golden disc. We were supposed to be doing deep space exploration." So that's why Christopher and I were talking about the Axelon, the Maximal ship, just being an exploration ship.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and Rat Trap even he bitched about that right in the beginning of the episode too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the first one of the first lines that he drops.
Remember the Great War, Rat Trap. If the Predacons get enough Energon, they'll start it again. Not too much Energon, just enough Energon.
A sufficient amount.
A sufficient amount of Energon.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't think so.
yeah, basically.
Yeah, and he's like, besides, you wanted to explore. Here we are, on an unknown planet. Go
What-
ape.
What more do you want? And Rat Trap's like, well, call me picky, but a working spacecraft would be nice. What
He
the
says a
fuck
very-
is Rhinox doing in the background here?
I like how Optimus just said a very Bob from Reboot thing. He just kind of chuckles to himself and he's like, there's just no pleasing some people.
Yep.
I feel like that's a very Bob line. What is Rhinox doing?
Yeah, so the elevator platform comes down and Chitor hops out, and Rhinox is like in his beast form, just sitting on the ground
It's a different platform.
with some weird device, and he's just like wagging some sort of wand
What is
up and down.
And he has a generator
Yeah.
attached to the
Yeah, what the fuck is he doing?
He's doing science shit. Right?
I
Huh.
don't know why I
I've
find
never
this so
noticed that
amusing.
before.
No, neither have I.
He's sitting like a human being, by the way, but like you know how weird it looks when a dog sits like a human? That's that's what's happening with Rhinox there.
Yeah.
And he's working on so we're gonna see this a lot. He's working on like quote science end quote. He's doing science things. Huh,
Yeah.
I've never noticed him doing science stuff in the first episode.
Nope. Well, we're noticing now.
Yeah. So he's doing the science.
Doing a science.
Yeah.
And yeah, Chitor ogles some actual cheetahs running across the plains.
This is weird.
And Optimus is like, man, they're fast, all right. You chose a good form. So I guess they had some input in what form they
Oh,
assumed.
you chose a good form. Okay, so there was some level of
And
interesting.
Chitor is like, hey, you think that's fast? You haven't seen the golden rocket. Maybe that's what he was on Cybertron. He just transformed into a rocket that was gold.
Oh. Yeah, maybe his name was Rocketor.
Yeah, Rocketor. Rocketeer.
Yeah, Rocketeer. And now he's Chitor.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Optimus yells like, Chitor, no!
Yeah, because Chitor decides to give chase.
And he is fast. He even runs across like a precarious looking like natural rocky bridge over the canyon.
Yep.
The famous bridge.
I was going to say that we may see again. And yeah, Optimus is like, Chitor, wait. And Rhinox points out that the Energon Interference is jamming their comm links. So
presumably they need to be a certain I'm sure no one will break these rules. They need to be within certain distance for their comm links to work.
And Optimus utters his iconic line for the first time. Well, that's just Prime.
That's just Prime.
That is just Prime. And
Yeah.
Rat Trap snarkily is like, hey, is this your first day on the job or what? And
I like Rat Trap, but man, is he a shitlord in part 1 and 2.
Yeah, he's a dick in these episodes.
If this was a pilot, I mean, I presume the whole thing was animated, but maybe they just animated the pilot, you know? Because, I presume that they had plans for a whole season, but I might be wrong about that. Maybe they just made episode 1 and they were like, oh shit, we got on TV.
I think they did the Beast Wars Part 1 and 2 that would have to shop it around as a series, and if it didn't get picked up, it would have just been aired as a like one-off special.
Yeah. fair. But it was so good. They were like, "Hey, can you guys make more?"
Yeah, we need more of this rat trap guy.
More. Oh, one thing I think the producer said to get what I think you knew what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Was they were like, "Hey, we love it, but if you can make Rat Trap not a miserable bastard, you can make him complain, you can make him challenge people's authority, but wow, he's almost the biggest antagonist on in part 1. Almost."
So Chitor chases down these 2 cheetahs and speaks English to them.
I just forgot, like almost 11 minutes in, like 10:42 or whatever, Optimus just tells Rat Trap to shut up.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Doesn't
Uh,
seem like something Optimus would do, but it's the pilot here.
Yeah. Still figuring out the characters, you know?
Yeah. And sorry, yeah, you were saying Chitor, he's running in the plains and the mountain plains. The terrain moves around a lot on this show, and he's next to some real cheetahs.
It's whatever Gotham needs it to be.
It really is.
Yeah.
And he's in some plains, and he comes up next to some other cheetahs, and he's like, "The name's Chitor. What's shaking, cats?" I love their reaction.
Yeah, they quite comically in unison. Their eyes bug out and their mouths both go agape.
Yeah, and they kind of like growl in like surprise, fear. I'm not really sure.
Both?
Both?
Arousal? Maybe?
Hard to say.
I mean, some people, all of those emotions run concurrent with one another.
But not Chitor. He like comes to a full stop. Like his
Yeah,
feet
'cause
are
they-
out like a dog sitting and everything.
Yeah, because they flip out and run past him, and he decides to just stop and be like, What? Was it my breath? Hey, wait. And he gives chase again. It's like, dude, why did you stop?
So he could talk to the camera and make a funny full stop. I like how he
Yeah.
chases after them again. It's like, get a hint, man.
Yeah.
Like, don't. Hey, I wonder why those people don't like me. I better follow them and try to talk to them again. Don't do it. And they run by a mangrove tree, and there's a bug that comes out, a big bug,
a giant wasp.
a giant wasp, and I just realized it's the POV, like the point of view from this giant wasp.
Yeah,
Never caught that the first time I saw this.
and
cool.
Chitor is basically like, hey, to the cheetahs, he's like, hey, what? It's just a big bug. The way those 2 animals were reacting.
That must be no natural life form.
And if we're talking about unnatural life forms, then we've got to be talking about just one thing. Robots in disguise. Which
I love that line.
It's
I love that.
gotta get that classic Transformers slogan in there somehow.
Yeah, and he yells, "Chitor, maximize!" And he like dives in the air as a cheetah. I never appreciated this shot before. He dives in the air as a cheetah and transforms in the air. So this is the first time we get to see a maximal transform. And he lands with a thud. And he's this like cool, like silver and cheetah colored like transformer with like I'm not sure why they gave him like weird spiky helmet. Resemble ears, I guess.
Yeah. He also has a cod piece that looks like his face. His
That's right, he
face.
does.
Which, like, listeners, we're kind of time traveling a little bit here, but this is something that I never noticed, but Cal eventually will point out in a later episode of this series.
It was so far into the like episode like 16 or something ridiculous.
Something
and
like
I
that,
paused
yeah.
it and I was like, "Hey, you ever notice that his cod piece looks like a face, like a cat face?" And yeah, Chitor was like, "Huh, I wonder if the other characters have weird stuff like that? And the answer is yes. Some of them do.
Yeah.
Speaking of weird, he has a gun, and it's colored gold, cheetah spots, and intestines.
Yep.
It's gross. I don't like it, but Christopher has named it the tummy gun.
Yep. So I used to have the toy of Chitor, and his little gun there becomes his stomach when he's in cheetah form.
Oh, it's like stored in his abdomen.
Yeah. So
right, I remember.
Yeah. So it kind of, I guess, sort of makes sense why there'd be intestines on it. It doesn't really, but like, it makes a degree of sense. But it's like, did you guys really need to do that? But anyway, I call it the tummy gun.
It'd be cool if we held it in two hands like a Tommy gun.
Ken was all like, "Meh, she, meh."
You got to the count of 10 to get you lying, stinking. I don't remember that Home Alone quote. Cheating.
You're
out my door or something like that.
You're lousy, lying, no good, keister off my property, or I'll pump your guts full of lead.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna give you to the count of 10. 1, 2, 10.
I wish Chitor shot it like a Tommy gun. Well, he shoots it like a gun that never hits anything because
he does not hit this wasp.
Yeah, he yells, "Time for this cat to pounce!" And despite getting the drop on this giant wasp and shooting what 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, wow, he shoots a lot and he misses a lot.
He shoots 1, 2, 10 times.
A lot. 1, 2, 10 times. And he misses terribly. So he's being completely outmaneuvered by this giant wasp in the air. And we hear a voice.
Yeah.
And Christopher does a better giant wasp voice than me.
Yeah. Waspinator under attack. Waspinator engage. Waspinator terrorize.
And boy, does he.
Yep,
He's
he
kind
transforms.
of just as gross in his robot form as he is as a wasp. Space looks cool, though.
Waspinator is a very fun character. I've never liked his design. Ever.
Oh,
I still don't.
Gross. I think his design is good. It's just not attractive. Do you know what I mean? I think there's a difference. Like, I can't think of how they could have designed him better because they're trying to portray, like, for the listeners, a lot of the Predacons have much less human-like faces than the Maximals do because, well, the Maximals are the good guys, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's to vilify them. To vilify the Predacons more.
So I think at least 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 have kind of like the segmented jaws, almost like an insect or an arachnid. So when they talk, you kind of like their mouths like go left and right instead of up and down. It's little jarring things like that that probably hits that like weird factor for you.
Could be.
Maybe. But as we discuss,
I also don't like how he just has
bugs,
a giant wasp ass hanging off of his back.
He keeps the wasp butt, man.
He's got a lot of junk in the trunk. That's all I'm saying.
He's got a lot of junk in the trunk, and he has an aerial advantage.
Yep. So the Maximals back at the Axelon hear the explosions and gunfire going on, and Rat Trap's like, "Oh, not good," or something like that, and he gets lifted up by Optimus, who is riding Rhinox.
So an 800-pound silverback gorilla is riding a
5,000 pound. Probably not, but
fuck it. I'm going in. How much does a rhino weigh?
Okay, if you didn't, I was just about to, so.
All right. 2,300 kilograms.
Oh.
So to pounds, that's
That is that's almost that's like over 4,000 pounds.
huh. So we weren't terribly off. Black rhinos are about 1,400 kilograms. Indian rhinoceros are 2,200 kilograms. Ah, wow, rhinos are big.
It's about 4,500 pounds.
Wow. Okay. So yes, almost as heavy as.
Wow,
we guessed.
I just threw out a random number. I can't believe I was actually close.
Yeah.
But
4,500 pounds.
I did go over though, so I don't win the showcase showdown.
That's how it
Unfortunately.
works. Yeah. It might as well have been $1 million.
Yeah. You may as well have just guessed
Hey,
$1.
I don't make the rules. Wow, I was half expecting us to be way over, like we were exaggerating, but that is a big ass animal.
So yeah, he probably could carry a 800-pound gorilla.
Yep, I'm believing it now.
You just
Makes me
gotta
wonder if anyone has ever trained a rhinoceros, or if they're too wild for that. You know what I mean? Has anyone trained and ridden a rhino? Things that only adults watching Beast Wars in 2020 would ask.
I mean, if any listener out there knows, shoot us a line and tell us, because we would like to know, but we also don't want to know enough to actually look it up for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
To set the record straight, by the way, I know that silverback gorillas don't weigh 800 pounds. But that just became an IRL, like a real life meme at some point. Do you know what I mean? To say an 800-pound gorilla. Like, I think, what are they, 400? They're about half that?
I think they're about 6, but...
Oh, actually? Oh, wow. That's fucking huge. Never mind.
All right, I'm looking this one up.
We're going in. Silverback gorilla.
How much does a silverback weigh? How much does a silverback cost? What?
Because it's a coin, right?
Oh.
Was it a
right.
coin? I'm going in.
The answer is 350 pounds. So...
Oh, when I was like, I think they're around like half that. It's kind of close, but
yeah, you
still
said
went
400.
over.
Yeah,
I still went over. So, according to the Price is Right rules. All right, ladies and gentlemen. See, you learned something. The show wants you to learn. And let me tell you, I did not have the internet watching this show when I was a kid.
No, the internet did exist at the time. It was in its infancy, but neither me nor Cal had the internet in our homes.
In a couple of years, I may have discovered AOL, America Online.
Oh shit!
And their free trials. So, speaking of America Online.
Okay, so I'm on Bing search right now, searching for how much does a silverback weigh?
Okay.
And there is actually an article from AdventureJournal.com.
Sounds credible. Go on.
From 2015 that says, "Do gorillas really weigh 800 pounds?" I shit you not.
That's funny. Because I was just like, I know they don't actually weigh that much, but everybody says like that. I don't know how that started. It's kind of like that that real life rumor, which my partner is the one that told me that this was bullshit. That every year you swallow like 2 to 4 spiders a year in your sleep. Yeah, that's bullshit.
Well, that's good.
That is good to know.
For the listeners, Christopher hates spiders a lot. It It will
Good thing
come up
there's
again
only-
in this podcast.
Good thing there's only one spider transformer on the show. Thank God.
Yeah, only one. And we
So-
barely ever see him.
Especially not close up doing nefarious deeds.
Yeah, like eating rats and yeah.
Huh.
Apparently there have been silverback gorillas that have reached nearly 600 pounds, but it's not common.
Wow, what are those ones eating? Jesus Christ. Other gorillas?
I was gonna say humans.
Amy, no, like, bad, monkey. Sorry, there was that's a line from a terrible fucking movie.
What movie is that?
What was the movie with the smart murderous gorillas? And they put that one device on the friendly gorilla's head, and she could like use sign language, but like it comes out as like a voice modulator.
Was this Congo?
Yes, thank you. Yeah. For some reason I remembered a line from Congo.
For some reason, I don't know what it is, but I've had 3 people in the past like month or so mention the movie Congo to me.
What?
I don't know why.
I've never mentioned that in my entire life.
I've had like 3 people in the past month in my day-to-day life mention the movie Congo to me, and I'm
It's
like,
not even good.
no, it's not. And like, I only saw it the one. Like, I remember as a kid renting it on VHS when it was a new release, or my mom did, and we watched it, and yeah, it was terrible.
I don't even know why the good gorilla's name is Amy. Could be totally wrong on that. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, whether or not her name is actually Amy, it is now.
Yep.
Yep. Speaking of gorillas, so yeah, Optimus and Rat Trap are riding Rhinox.
And Chitor is running away from Waspinator, who, by the way, alongside his gun, which is causing explosions, not just like energy blasts,
Yep.
he has eye lasers. He's shooting lasers out of his eyes. Pink eye lasers.
Oh, he is.
And it's glorious.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm like, I don't actually remember Waspinator having eye lasers.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. Anyway.
And they're pink and they're cool.
Yep.
Anyway, I like it's weird because we're time traveling here, but it may become a meme that I may have started with episode 1, and which is this episode now, but
The original.
I feel like
episode
when you're making a new transformer, or let's say it's like a character point buy system, why would you not have eye lasers? I mean, it just feels like it would be useful in any situation. No, how do you let's say you disarm someone and put someone in a jail? How do you disarm their eye lasers? I mean,
gouge out their eyes.
Yeah, oh, maybe it's a liability in that case. Okay, moving on.
But, you know, like,
lasers.
Eye lasers could be useful in most situations, though. Like even day-to-day things. It's like, oh, you're on the go. You're just about to head out the door to go and terrorize, but you're kind of hungry, but don't have time to toast a bagel. So instead, what you do is you toast the bagel instantly with your eye lasers.
Why would you not?
Exactly.
Go to take a bath. Oh, you ran it a little bit cold.
Eye laser the water.
Fucking eye laser the water. Tell me there are very few situations in which eye lasers are not beneficial. So clearly, all of the Transformers on the show have eye lasers, right?
You would think, but I guess we'll find out.
Reboot. And then we never find out. So yeah, there's a bunch of rocks coming up, and the rat is like, "Hey, there's a roadblock." But when you're a 2,000 kilogram rhino,
If you are a 4,500 pound rhino,
you are ill concerned with the likes of piles of boulders.
yep. This actually looks like a man-made dam out of, like, very
Right?
crudely.
They're piled like a wall, like a specific wall.
It looks like something a caveman built.
This is my fence. You stay on that side.
That's the joke of that caveman sitcom episode.
Oh, instead of painting a line down the apartment and splitting everything in half, they just make a rock wall.
Yeah.
That side of canyon, you stay. But we have not seen any cavemen yet.
No, not yet.
Oh shit, are there cavemen on the show? Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
So Chitor dives into this like little ravine type thing, or this little like trench. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah, trench. And
his gun's jammed.
He's all like
quasar jam.
Yeah. What a shitty time for a quasar jam.
The fuck does that mean? Isn't a quasar a type of star?
Yeah.
Moving on.
It's technobabble, okay?
Yeah.
When you're 11, you may not know that. Yeah, so we hear Optimus's voice being like, "Chitor, get to cover. We'll handle this pesky Predacon."
Mm-hmm.
And turns out they actually have a lot of pesky Predacons to deal with because the entire Predacon force have shown up. And Megatron is like, I do believe you are about to have difficulties of your own. Yes.
Yeah, he like shows up and he's like, "Oh, I would not count on that, Maximals."
Yep.
No.
And so Optimus is like,
shit.
We don't have to do this, Megatron. The Maximals and Predacons have been at peace for centuries. Why start this up again? And Megatron is basically just like, well, we were basically playing possum in being peaceful, yes, while we were simply planning to fuck you up.
We lied.
I lied. Yes, Primal. Remember that time when I said I would break truce with you last? I lied.
Remember that time we played Guess Who, and you said, "Does your person have brown hair?" He did.
Oh, man.
You monster.
How dare you? The war is back on.
It's back on, bitch. Maximize. So, wow. So, we just learned quite a bit from that answered a lot of our questions. All the Transformers are at peace, or at least all the ones on Cybertron, right?
Yeah.
And there's been peace for how long did he say? Like 1,000 years?
He says centuries.
Oh, okay, so hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And the Predacons...
We may get a more definitive number later in the season.
So they've been like... It almost seems like they were forced into peace, so they kind of lost?
Yeah.
Or the ancestors, maybe, of the Predacons lost. And they've just been like biding their time, waiting for a good opportunity to, at least Megatron.
A deceptive lot they were.
They were. They should have called them Deceiver Bots.
Wait, that's not what they called them?
Deceptibots.
Deceivatron.
Deceivatron.
Terrorize.
Sounds like a trustworthy fellow.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, we're joking, but we get like their roll call there, which is like really cool.
Yeah. So Megatron's like, we've just been waiting for the right moment to strike, and then Chitor actually breaks the is the one who actually breaks the
Oh shit, you're right.
yeah, he breaks the truce or whatever. Which I mean, I guess
Yeah, because Megatron just fucking told them that they're planning on wasting them. Go
So
Chitor.
Yeah, so Chitor makes the first shot, which is not typically something we see the Maximals do.
Yeah. He's like, we've just been waiting for our moment to strike. And then Cheetor's like, you mean like this? And he shoots Megatron in the fucking T-Rex head.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And Optimus is like, Chitor! With a look of just like utter worry.
But I mean, Cheetor didn't start it. Like, he's preemptive striking. I'm with Cheetor on that. Good move, man.
Yeah.
Can't hit fucking Waspinator with shit, but you can hit the giant stationary T-Rex delivering his monologue.
Yeah. And he's all like, a treacherous, underhanded sneak attack. Ho, 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 ho. I like you, pussycat. But it shall avail you not. No. And
That's a great line, by the way.
Then we get what I have long referred to as the Beast Wars roll call.
Hell yeah. Yeah, the T-Rex Megatron, he throws his head up and he yells, Predacons, terrorize! And in turn, Optimus says, do it, maximize! And then we get it. We get the spider. His name is Tarantulas. And he yells, terrorize. Tarantulas! I can't do his voice. You can do it.
Tarantulas, terrorize!
And he's gross looking.
And they go back and forth. So
yeah,
Tarantulas,
we get all of them.
Yeah,
we get Rhinox. Yeah,
it goes from Tarantulas to Rhinox and
Scorponok. Scorponok, terrorize!
And
we get to see Scorponok again. Yeah, so we get them all, and it cuts. Maybe I'm wrong. Does it like show a Maximal and then show a Predacon and then show a Maximal and then show a Predacon?
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah, the roll call thing.
Yeah.
How nice of them to wait for all of them to transform.
I know, it's very gentlemanly of them.
Okay. Listeners, yes, we understand it's a kids show, and it needs to say all of their names before they fight. But let us do our thing. Yeah, and Megatron, we for the first time we get to see him transform.
Yep,
his transformation's pretty cool.
It is, yeah.
I'd say Optimus's is, even though he goes last here, his transformation isn't as cool as some of the others. He looks cool. Like his robot is cool, but like the animation for it isn't like in the top 3, I'd say.
It gets more interesting when we start seeing him like transform midair.
Yeah, that gets that really rustles that piques my interest. I'm interested to see what they do with that. And so
the camera starts at Megatron's feet and pans all the way up, showing a full body shot of this big, like hulking purple
dinosaur man.
Dinosaur man.
They don't call me Dinosaur Man for nothing.
And he's all like in a very like commanding voice, like, now obliterate them.
Mm-hmm.
And
they
open fire, and we get that iconic. We get that what would go on to be iconic Beast Wars battle music playing in the background.
All of their weapons are different, and they're really cool.
Yeah, they all their weapons have different sound effects too, which is kind of cool because like that way you know who is shooting.
Yeah, as we go on through the season, you could tell from their weapons, even if it doesn't show us, like who's shooting with who. which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
You don't pick it up like right away, but it definitely, if you're watching it like we do, like week after week, it sticks with you. Some of their photon blasters are the same, but for the most part, their weapons are different.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first time of presumably many, the Maximals hide behind rocks.
Yep.
I like Optimus's like wrist shotgun thing.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got these like he's got this like double-barreled shotgun in his left forearm. It's pretty
Kind of
dope.
shoots like the photon or like the plasma blasts.
Yeah.
If anyone was counting, the Maximals might seem outnumbered here.
Yeah, there is 5 Predacons and 4 Maximals. So they're at a disadvantage.
And to further that, Chitor tries to crawl away, and he gets pinned by rubble.
Yeah. And he's all like, shit, guys, I'm stuck. Because his leg is pinned by a rock. A very small rock.
Like I'm not a robot with hydraulic pistons. And
Wait,
I
you're
can
not?
move that. I mean, maybe I just think I'm not, but I've been programmed to think that, and I can.
But there's only one way to find out.
Reboot? But I could move that rock that's on Chitor.
Yeah.
Or at least roll it away. But hey, we're not all Rhinox. We can't all just move an infinite mass of rocks out of our way.
Optimus tells Rat Trap to help Chitor and that he'll cover him. And Rat Trap's just like, yeah, right.
Yeah, and he says some Rat Trap bullshit like, you can kiss my skid plate, fearless leader.
Yeah. Optimus gets mad and then flies into the air. Mm-hmm. So he can fly.
He can fucking fly.
He's an ape that can fly.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll be the only Transformer on the show who can fly when their animal form can't.
This is what it sounds like when apes fly. Do, 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 do.
Wow. This is what it sounds like when apes fly. Did that just pop up in your head?
Yes, it did.
And it kind of sounds like the Rocketeer. It's pretty cool. It's some super ape moments here, but boy oh boy, Megatron's got like a weird giant like plasma laser cannon that he shoots out of his dinosaur hand. Okay, so Megatron's head, his T-Rex head, when he transforms into his robot form, the T-Rex head becomes his right hand.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, but
yeah, and it can shoot a laser out of it.
Yeah.
It's like a beam, actually, not a single laser. Their eyes are lasers. Well, laser is a weird word. Plasma bolts? Who cares? Lasers.
Yeah.
And Super Ape gets shot out of the air. And Rhinox yells, "No, Optimus!" And Rat Trap also seems concerned. No, he doesn't. He goes, "See, I told ya." Like, literally. In a mocking like voice. But what you gonna do?
Yeah. So Optimus uses his shotgun to blow up the boulder.
Seems safe.
That's pinning Chitor, and he succeeds. And him and Chitor get out of there, and Megatron's all like, "Do not let them escape." And
everyone continues shooting.
Yeah, everyone continues shooting. Rhinox says to Rat Trap, he's like, "Cover fire. They need it. We give it now." And he actually picks Rat Trap up.
And look at the gun he's using.
Yeah,
Rhinox is using.
Yeah, he's using a little. Oh, he's using Chitor's gun.
He's using Chitor's gun. Yeah.
Yeah, he's using Chitor's tummy gun.
Yeah.
Where did he get that?
So, again, this is I don't want to mention this like too much, but like Christopher and I revisiting to make episode 1 and 2 like a little bit better, right? But one thing I mentioned is he has a photon blaster in the first episode that confused me. And I knew that he had a photon blaster. I dropped it and we like moved on. But I did not notice until now that it was Chitor's gun. Where did he get that?
I don't know.
Doesn't Chitor have his gun?
Yeah.
Do you think Chitor maybe has like a room just full of these guns?
maybe underneath armored flooring in the base.
Like some sort of armory where they store weapons?
Yeah. That is suspiciously mostly just filled with Chitor's tummy guns.
I love how Chitor runs up this fucking hill. Are you seeing that?
Yeah.
That's painful to behold. Oh, what were they doing? I guess they couldn't animate him like going up a steep incline properly, so they waddled him up there. Wow,
it's really hard to describe what he's doing too. Listeners, just watch the clip from the episode.
It looks like someone in drama class, like doing a goofy walk. It's not even running. What? Okay, well. Wait, did Chitor's gun fly out of his hand? I'm investigating this. Chitor does not have his gun. Whoa. Okay. Oh! Okay, so when Chitor is shot when he's trying to leave the canyon? Oh, look at me. One might say I am legitimate in the trade of journalism.
Oh shit.
Was that made episode 1?
Yeah, listeners, in the original recording of this from some time ago, I had made a comment about how I'd taken notes about the episode because I was a legitimate journalist. Except I actually said because I am a legitimate journalism. And many laughs were had.
Christopher immediately was like, "Oh, sorry, what I meant is," and I was like, no, you don't let anyone tell you that you're not a legitimate journalism.
And don't let anything hold you down.
And we didn't let him get away with that one, so it kind of became a thing.
Yeah.
And that was episode 1, which is why I'm bringing it up now. And I feel like a legitimate journalism now. Chitor's gun flies out of his hand as he's trying to climb up the canyon. And that might be why Rhinox has it. He falls back into the canyon without his gun, and his gun goes flying.
And Rhinox just sees it lying around, and he's like, oh, hey, I can use this.
Maybe he doesn't have his guns yet? His gun? He gets an iconic gun later, but maybe he doesn't have his? Or maybe his gun is more close range, and Chitor's gun is better for medium distance?
Maybe?
Or the animators didn't have his guns made yet? Huh. Cool. So, wow, revisiting these, we pieced it together. Or not, or I'm just making excuses for the show. I do that a lot, by the way.
So do I.
He has his in different ways. He's shooting Chitor's tummy gun. Look at that.
Yeah, and Optimus is like, back to the base, let's go. And so they run away, and Megatron is all like, after them, do you? And then he starts shorting out.
Yeah, there's what? He looks like he's being electrocuted or something?
And when I mentioned earlier that I stumbled across this episode back in 1996 on TV randomly, it was at this exact moment.
Oh, really?
It was at this exact moment when Megatron first starts shorting out. And then we see the shot of the flyers, Pterosaur and Waspinator flying, and then Waspinator shorts out, lands on the ground, and is all like, Waspinator cannot move. And Megatron, and now Pterosaur is on the ground, and Megatron is continuing to short out, and he's like, Energon field buildup, convert back to beast mode. And he transforms. And
So
as
that
an
tells the users a lot.
As an 11-year-old who loves Transformers, the user wins.
What is wrong with me?
The
viewer.
So yeah, as an 11-year-old who loved Transformers when he was little, but knew nothing about this show, stumbled across this CGI show where a character mentions Energon and then transforms into a fucking dinosaur before my eyes. It blew my fucking mind. I was like,
what?
I was like, what? Yeah, I just lost my mind with excitement.
That's a good first episode and good time during the first episode to cut in. Being like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah. And I
think my first episode was the one where Rat Trap is like infiltrating their ship.
Oh, a better mousetrap.
Yeah, not a great first intro to the show, but it gave me a feel for things, sort of.
Better Mousetrap was the 9th episode in both production and US broadcast order. It was a good episode.
Yeah, I liked it, but out of context, like, kid me was like, what's going on? Who is this? Is that a bad guy? Why is he doing aerobics and dodging fireballs?
Why is this rat talking and surfing?
There you go. Questions. I don't know what's happening, but I like it.
The hard-hitting questions, damn it.
So Rhinox saves Chitor's tummy gun, thankfully.
Yep.
Just in case he doesn't have 1 or 2 or 7 more. And the viewer is like, oh, cool. They can only stay in their robot forms for a certain amount of time. Got it. Great first part.
So the Maximals, presumably, it looks like it's starting to get dark, so presumably it's been some time. The Maximals are heading back toward the base.
Oh, you're right. Good catch. It's like evening.
Yeah. Optimus and Rat Trap are once again riding Rhinox.
And I think like Optimus is like just holding Rat Trap up by the scruff of the neck, just like arguing with him. He's like, when I give you an order, you... Yeah. Rat Trap's being a little disobedient shit.
Yeah, he's laying down the law, being all like, let's get one thing straight, Rat Trap. I am in command. And when I give an order, you will do as I say. And Rat Trap's just all like, man, fuck you.
And Optimus is like, I'd never tell you to do something I wouldn't do, dumbass. And he's like, oh yeah, then blah, blah, blah. Looks like you got yourself shot. And he was like, oh, I gave you that order because I would provide you with better cover fire. And Rat Trap's like,
better you than me.
Yeah. Optimus, why are you so forgiving? But that's one of one of Optimus's weaknesses, but also his strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Optimus is like, and Rat Trap's like, what are you worried about? We got out of there alive, didn't we? And Optimus is like, but injured. It'll take time for our beast forms to conduct internal repairs.
Ah. So that tells us that they can repair themselves when they're in their animal forms.
Yep.
Their beast mode, which is kind of cool. So when he got his rockets injured, presumably he's like being repaired while they're just chilling.
Yep.
I wonder, so Chitor's weapon is inside, all of their weapons are inside their Transformers. They're inside of them when they're in their beast mode. If your weapon is lost or broken, is that different? Again, questions no one has ever bothered asking. But could you like regenerate like his Chitor's tummy gun, right? It
Yeah.
has a design on it that's like intestines. It's kept in his abdomen. If he say loses or somebody shoots or destroys that gun while he's in his like cheetah form, can he regenerate his weapon?
So he just transforms and like his stomach is missing and his like entrails are leaking out.
Well, we didn't have to get that dark.
Yes, we did. Damn it.
Huh. It's interesting to think about. And another interesting thing is if they have like a blade, right? Could they like use it in their beast mode if they had like opposable thumbs? Like couldn't
a gorilla?
couldn't a gorilla say like wield a sword? That'd be pretty fucking cool.
I
Hey,
mean,
wait a sec. Why doesn't Optimus just use a gun when he's in his? Hold up! How have I not asked this question yet? Why doesn't Optimus in his like beast mode just have a gun? Like a gun with a trigger that most of them use.
perhaps he could wield a Tommy gun.
How? Or a tummy gun. Rhinox could. Yeah, why don't the ones with opposable thumbs just have weapons?
Well, we'll never know.
World is I just shattered my own world. Okay. They all act like the battle's kind of like over when they're in their beast mode, but I mean Optimus can hold a gat. Just saying. Anyways, back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. As they're talking, sorry, go ahead,
Yeah.
Christopher.
Speaking of Chitor and his tummy gun, Chitor shows up and is all like, "I think we gave him the fade, Optimus."
Yeah, Optimus is like, for now, but one of them was missing from the battle. There were 6.
According to the Golden Disc theft reports, there were 6 Predacons. One of them was missing from the battle. And Rat Trap's like, "Yeah, well, maybe he got killed in the crash." And Rhinox is like, "That kind of luck we haven't been having much of lately."
Yeah, and Cheetor's like, "Tell me about it. Look." And there's a dinosaur on the rocky bridge. The bridge over the canyon that separates them from their ship.
The bridge over the River Kwai.
And is that a river in China?
I
feel bad that I don't know where that is.
think it's in Vietnam.
Vietnam?
I just know that Bridge over the River Kwai is the name of a famous war film.
Yeah, like something from the 50s or like 60s or something.
Yeah. I think it might be a movie about Vietnam, but
oh, it makes sense. That would make sense.
I could be wrong. Listeners, if I'm wrong, and yeah, I apologize.
Well, wait, if it came out in the 50s and Vietnam was after that.
Okay, I'm just looking it up now.
We got to look it up now. Christopher is the film guy, not me. I think I've seen that when I was in high school.
Is. The movie is from 1957.
Okay, so it came out shortly after.
Okay, it's yeah, it's from 1957. So the River Kwai is in Myanmar.
Myanmar
or Burma.
Those are real countries, I'm sure.
Yeah, they're in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, close to India or Malaysia. Or...
yeah, bordered by Bangladesh and India, China,
Bangladesh,
and Thailand. Okay, well, we learned something.
Every day.
Yep.
We've actually learned a lot this episode. It's weird.
Yeah, so Dinobot is on the bridge.
And they're like, should we blast him?
And Optimus is like, keep that option open, but hang on. And so he walks onto the bridge to talk to Dinobot, and Dinobot is all like, attention Maximals, I have left the Predacons to join your group as leader. Dun, 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 dun. To be continued.
To be continued. That's part 1.
Yeah, so that was part 1 of Beast Wars. We here on the Too Much Energon podcast, we rate episodes on the Too Much Energon scale that ranges from not enough Energon, which can be an episode that is anywhere from really bad to just not that great.
Is there anything as no Energon, or is that the same thing as not enough?
No Energon will be reserved for very special episodes that are just the worst ever.
Yeah.
Sufficient Energon, which is an episode that, is kind of just, okay to pretty good. To Too Much Energon, which is an episode that's, wow, that's really good, or this is the absolute best episode of the show ever. So, Cal, on that scale, what would you rate Beast Wars Part 1?
Oh, it's a Too Much Energon for me, dog.
Oh, it's definitely a Too Much Energon for me as well. Great opening to the series. Great introductions to the characters. We haven't learned a lot about the Predacons yet, though. But
no, other than one of them can shoot missiles that transport others, like, all the way across the planet.
Yeah.
And that one is treacherous and a big T-Rex.
Yeah. I like to think that Dinobot just landed from the cross-country missile.
Like seconds before he approached the Maximals?
Yeah, that's how he got there. Like, he literally just landed, like, within minutes of the Maximals showing up.
Yeah, and he was just like, huh? Where am I? Oh, here's a base.
Oh, this is convenient.
I'll challenge them for leadership. And then he just chilled out on the bridge.
Yeah.
That is convenient. You know what's funny? Even though I've seen this multiple times, we actually noticed things this time that we had never noticed before.
Totally.
Like, other than weird malformed Megatron, but there was also Rhinox shooting Chitor's gun. That's interesting. We learned how heavy a silverback gorilla and a rhinoceros is.
And we learned the meaning of friendship and loyalty. Not
yet. That'll take a few episodes. But we're getting there.
Best way to support the show, if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, give us a 5-star rating because that helps us out with discoverability. Also, check out our website, www.toomuchenergon.ca, where you can find embedded players for all of the episodes of this show, social media links, and yada, yada, yada. We'll be back next time with Beast Wars Part 2. So keep an eye out for that. I've been one of your hosts, Christopher Siege.
I'm your other host, NeoKal.
And until next time, Beast Mode.
Beast Mode.
Beast Mode!